Lattafa, we need to talk. But because I try not to major on the trivial, hi everyone, welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is CeeChronicles and I go by that name on all my social media platforms. Now, if you're joining me here for the very first time, guys, I post fragrance related content on this platform and I do post weekly and I try to post consistently. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing. To those who are returning, thank you for always rooting out for me. I appreciate you as always. Now, welcome to a Lattafa Pride fragrance, guys. Lattafa is on the roll again. They have dropped a lot of fragrances this year, and especially the much awaited Lattafa Pride, part 2. I'm going to call it part 2 because we did have a part 1. I'm going to start with the review and then I'm going to, throw my rant at the end of the video. So please, guys, do stay tuned up to the end if you can. So today we have Lattafa Ajwaa. I'm going to put a close-up, guys, of how this fragrance looks like. But it comes in this white packaging and it's a box inside a box. What you're going to find inside is this, all right? So basically that is the booklet from Lattafa, right? So it's a slide out. And like I said, I'm going to be throwing in a close-up for you to see. And then you have the booklet, okay, for Lattafa Pride. This one is maroon in color or plum. It just depends on how you perceive your colors. And then this is the box, guys, for Ajwaa, right? You open it from the sides like that, right? So then you get to the fragrance. They've gone extra because I think the box is magnetic. Don't worry about the fingerprints. I just had some lotion on my hands because I was trying not to look ashy. So this is the presentation, guys, for Ajwaa, and then the bottle sits right in there. Okay, so it does kind of look like something that it's not supposed to be looking like, right? Right? Okay. Anyway, so this is the bottle, guys, for Ajwaa. The notes have been listed just like before. Now, this is the atomizer for Ajwaa, right? The notes listed for this fragrance are bergamot, LMA, and LMA is listed twice. So there's LMA at the top and in the mid, and then some dates, lemon, licorice, right? And then some myrrh, and then there is benzoin, incense, labdanum, musk, and vanilla. Going by their pamphlet, okay, I think this is gonna be the GOAT of them all. Why I say so is just like in the Lattafa Pride, we had Eternal Oud on the first page, and I think this is what they've gone for here. This is going to be the special one of the lot. Okay, expect a spicy, warm, waxy, honeyed kind of fragrance. The meaning of the name Ajwaa itself I got from a subby of mine, Osma Gerard 4028. They did not comment on this particular video, but I did come across their comment on another video. They said Ajwaa special kind of dates, from Saudi Arabia. They say that they are expensive and they smell really, really good and they taste really good. So Ajwaa means dates, right? So do expect some dates in this fragrance. However, the opening of this is going to come across as a well-rounded presentation of a juice. This fragrance, guys, is one that you cannot outright isolate a particular note. So in as much as it lists bergamot and a double use of LME there in the top and the mid, I cannot class this one as a citrus. That LME and the bergamot kind of bounces off a woody backdrop. So you're going to get something that feels like woods in here. The juice in itself, guys, is a very refined. Not only were they going for the looks, of the bottles and whatever, but the juice in itself speaks to the quality of the direction in which Lattafa, is going. And granted, the Lattafa Pride, even the previous one, has always been like the creme de la creme of Lattafa. But they have gone an extra mile here. To an extent, I'll be so disappointed if this turns out to be a dupe of something, because this on its own, guys, is just a fragrance that screams quality. Expect some spices in here, and that brings to the surface the use of the incense that they have put there in the notes. However, this incense is not one that I would class as smoky. So if you're not into the smoky kind of incense, don't expect, don't run away from this because it does list incense there. The incense comes off as a host of spices there, particularly cinnamon, I would say. I do get a lot of cinnamon here. So it comes off as gentle spices, cinnamon, maybe pepper there, used but in a subtle way, wrapped up in a waxy kind of feel, a honeyed kind of feel. So this is one fragrance, guys, that is semi-difficult to describe, but it's going to be a juice which I can outright say I haven't brought to you anything that smells like this before. It does give me a feel of what I would expect from a Middle Eastern fragrance without it being a fragrance I can stereotype as Middle Eastern. So I do get, wafts of not so much a shock coming from Lattafa, okay, but I wouldn't say it's like a staple DNA within the Lattafa fragrances. It just comes across as something that you can class as, oh, okay, yeah, this is definitely what Lattafa would do, but without necessarily saying this is a typical Lattafa DNA. No, this, guys, is a very beautiful fragrance. It is semi-sweet, and then there is the use of those dates. If you love the date fruit, you're definitely gonna love this because that is what it is. Even in that opening, and especially in the dry down, you're going to get a feel of that semi-sugared dates there working with a leather, but also careful enough not to make this one a masculine or a feminine scent. So this comes across as a genderless to my nose. Another thing that I noticed, guys, with this particular juice is they seem to have worked on the longevity, because this, though it bounces off as careful in everything in its presentation, in the sense that I can see some people calling this one soft, it just gives you, that fragrance around you that is stubborn, but in a way soft. So it's not going to be harsh in any way. Even the use of the spices here are not going to, be piercing in any way. Mental shortcut, I'm going to say this juice comes across as though, if you went to a palm tree and then there is like a semi-dry leaf of a palm tree and then you put your nose to it, it does have that dry earth accord to it. Picture, this being a palm tree. Don't imagine it being green. Imagine that palm tree almost as though it's being exposed to the sun, where if you come close to it, it doesn't smell green, but rather gives you wafts of a woodsy, dry earth feel. And of course, the dates, because this is what this juice is all about. So it is your date delight. You are going to love the yummy dates in here with a very subtle woody base there and some leather, and very expensive smelling to the nose. And now to the part where I said, Lattafa, we need to talk. I normally don't major on the trivial, guys, but I think it's about time I said something about Lattafa as a company in general. This is not targeted at any resellers or anything like that, right? Lattafa, it's about time you reach out to fragrance reviewers, not necessarily to be biased. I always get stuff sent to me by other companies. I always tell them straight up, I'm not going to be in your favor. If I don't like this, I'm going to say exactly my thoughts. But why I had to say this, guys, most especially because Lattafa have released the second Lattafa Pride collection, is to just release it and drop it out there. Starting price in the United States at about $79-80, and not even promote your own stuff is not fair. We are catching strays for you here, especially myself. I catch a lot of strays, guys, when it comes to Lattafa, because I have over close to 3 million views and I talk mostly about Lattafa. This is not a complaint to my audience. This is a complaint to Lattafa. With over or close to 3 million views and talking mostly about Lattafa, it's not surprising that a lot of people think I'm being sponsored by Lattafa. Yet I have never received a single fragrance from Lattafa, and that is hand on heart. I have companies that sell Lattafa reach out to me. For instance, when I brought in the Lattafa Pride collection, that was from SA Cash and Carry. They singled me out and they said, see, you're always talking about Lattafa. Can you just say what your thoughts about this collection on our behalf? I didn't get a single fragrance donated to me, right? And no, I am not asking for freebies, but why I feel I had to say this is dropping price in the US at about $79 for the Lattafa Pride collection, about $50 in South Africa, and then expecting either the sellers, to drop these fragrances on your behalf, I think is very unfair. Now, let me say why I have been prompted to say this. I'm going to show you how much I purchased Lattafas, and these are off my own pocket. These are Lattafas I haven't even opened, guys, right? So I'm not even going to be able to hold them with one hand. So it will only be fair, guys, as a company, right, to reach out to us. I drop, guys, up to 500 sometimes a month just on the Lattafas, just to bring them here because my audience absolutely loves that. And as a company, I don't think it's going to cost you anything, to roll out some of these fragrances for the purposes of them being reviewed, because it's not fair, for me to constantly be explaining that, no, I am not sponsored by Lattafa. And people don't get it because they're thinking, well, your channel is mostly talking about Lattafa, and Lattafa as a company does nothing about it. It's so not fair. Having said that, I'm going to say shout out to companies like Dubai Perfume Cafe. They always reach me out. They always give me, flexible, arrangements for me to get fragrances from them. But they are not Lattafa. They're just doing the best they can. Shout out to SA Cash and Carry. They reached out to me. Shout out to companies like Afnan. They reached out to me, asked me to be on their reviewers club. And all of the other companies that have reached out to me, some I actually decline because I don't talk about them that much, and I always say to them, if your product is not going to be to draw interest to my audience, I'm not going to talk about it that much. But I always talk about Lattafas regardless of me purchasing these fragrances with my own money. So that is what I wanted to say, guys, for the run. Now back to this fragrance. Let me say, I hope for all the work that Lattafa has put in the Lattafa Pride Collection Part 2, they have done their due diligence here and made sure that these are not dupes. If they are dupes, let's hope, guys, that they are in the quality of the Fragrance Dubois, the Clive Christians, because of the price point. Because if you're a dupe house, guys, you always need to be in check in terms of pricing. Otherwise, with prices skyrocketing, it makes zero sense for people to spend their hard penny when they could just stretch a little and buy the real thing. So I hope, for their sake, the second Lattafa Pride collection, guys, is going to be composed of original creations. If not, then let's hope they went for the creme de la cremes in the market to make it sensible for somebody to drop $80 on a bottle, $60 on a bottle. Personally, I love the quality of this fragrance. I also love the quality of their, first edition of the Lattafa Pride, although price-wise, some of them didn't end up making sense considering what they were duping. So let's hope with this one having a high price cap there, these fragrances are going to live up to the expectations of what everybody has there. I have a couple of them here. I'm going to add some more here, and I'm going to be giving you my thoughts, guys. And I do hope that you guys agree with what I had to say, and no pun intended to my viewers. I love you guys. I love the fact that you love Lattafa, but I thought it is about time somebody spoke out that they need to do something PR wise where they can, drop some of these collections, especially the huge collections like these. I think there's about 22 in this one, okay? Huge collections like this, you lose nothing, Lattafa, by dropping them to reviewers who talk about your products all the time, and at least easing it for us in terms of that. Because if I'm to buy the entire Lattafa Pride Collection Part 2 here, I will need to spend in excess of $1,500 based on the prices that the collection is going for, guys. So it's only fair that I had to say this. CeeChronicles is my name. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. Let's meet in the comment section where we obviously discuss more about fragrances. Turn on post notifications, guys. That way you get to be notified anytime I upload a video. Like and share this video, and most importantly, don't forget to subscribe. And remember that smelling good is a form of good manners. Cheers.